Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Where the Rubber Meets the Road, Driving Revenue. Today, we're going to have a quick spotlight on Bruce Asanoff, a leading producer in Worksite long-term care benefits. So without further ado, let's meet our host, Mario Sestito.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Where the Rubber Meets the Road. This is your host, Mario Sestito, National Director with LTCi Partners. Today, we have a very special guest. We wanted to focus a little bit about LTCi's enrollment process, the use of our highly trained, highly experienced long-term care consultants. And today, we have one of our most seasoned veteran agents on the call, Bruce Asanoff.
Thanks for letting me get onto this podcast. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Bruce. We appreciate it. So Bruce has been in the securities, banking, and insurance fields since 1986, so quite a long time. He's been with LTCi Partners since 2009, so specialized in long-term care insurance for quite a long time. And he comes to long-term care after some personal experience with family members dealing with a long-term care issue and seeing the financial costs of a long-term care crisis. Through LTCi Partners, Bruce's contract with all the major carriers, his goal is to educate prospective applicants and to use his knowledge and background to find the best fit for his clients. So we're bringing Bruce on today because he's very active in LTCi Partners Worksite enrollments, working individually with employees. And part of the reason for the call today is to really highlight just the caliber and quality of the long-term care specialists that we use, and Bruce being one of our best. So I do want to read a specific testimonial we received from an employee in one of our Worksite enrollments and kind of get into some questions about how Bruce handles his one-on-one consultations with employees. So this is a quote from an actual employee from one of our Worksite enrollments. It's a difficult thing to think about, but the truth is that having long-term care insurance is a gift for the people who will be taking care of you in your older age. Although it's something I should have done years ago, I recently took the plunge and put myself in the capable hands of Bruce Asanoff at LTCi Partners. Taking me step by step through the process, Bruce showed me the many options and plans to consider. He made this complex and overwhelming topic less overwhelming and easy to understand. Bruce went above and beyond. He honored and was respectful of the emotions that come with discussions of aging. In the end, his patience, guidance, and compassion were the only reasons I stuck it out and was able to choose a long-term care plan that was right for me. Well done, Bruce. Great feedback from an employee in one of our Worksite enrollments. So we wanted to ask you some questions about your process when working with employees. And the first one is really, tell us about how you handle a one-on-one meeting with an employee during an enrollment. What is your process?
That was quite a testimonial, and that is my goal with everyone that I work with. So, the first thing I do when I get someone on the phone is I share with them that I do want to be respectful of their time. I know they're very busy people. They have jobs to do, they have families, so I ask them, how much time have you allocated for us to talk? I don't necessarily need you to make a decision immediately. In fact, I want to make sure that you consider all these options and we find the best fit for you. So how much time have you allocated for us to speak? And then in order to make effective use of their time, I ask them if they've reviewed the information that's been provided by LTCi Partners, whether it's attending a webinar or a pre-recorded webinar. And this is actually where the level of company support can really help, because obviously you have jobs that they need to do. So the more support that you can lend to this process, the better educated they are, and actually the less time it takes for them to make a decision. So, depending upon the level of their education, then we'll kind of get into what led them to want to learn more. Have they had their own personal family experience? And then we talk about, the product and pricing and the fact that it will pay for care at home or assisted living. It gives them choices, adult daycare, and we try to see if we can find something that'll fit their needs.
And I like how you start out with setting the expectations around time, because we really see a variety in that area. We see some employees that it can take 10, 15 minutes. They kind of know what they want. They just want to get the enrollment process taken care of, and it's pretty quick. And I'm sure you see some employees that want a full, lengthy conversation. Some have maybe 2 or even 3 consultations before they make a decision. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, that's very, very true. Yeah, there's some people that are definitely motivated, and it really comes down to if you've had a family experience, you know what this is all about. Those people are more highly motivated. The people that are in their 20s or 30s, they, we kind of, when we're a bit younger, we think we're pretty much bulletproof. So for them, it might be they're kind of testing the waters, those types.
Yeah, and I like the way you kind of set the tone and pace for the dialogue. And oftentimes we hear employees are concerned that they're going to be pressured into buying something that's not appropriate for them. Sounds like you really set that expectation up front, that this is really just continuing the education one-on-one and letting the employees make a decision at their own pace. Sounds like you do a great job with that.
Thank you.
What are some of the common concerns that employees have when you do meet with them? What are some of the reasons they're deciding to go forward with long-term care?
Well, they want to make sure that they ask me questions about, will the rate increase over time?
Mm-hmm.
And that's very important. And, our products basically have really great rate stability. So I share with them that their rate is not going to go up based on their age or their health changing or the fact that they file a claim. So unlike, for example, their auto insurance, you file a claim or you get older. Plus, their coverage can never be canceled by the carrier. They can cancel the carrier, but the carrier can never cancel them. Typically, they will ask, well, what happens if I leave? And so I assure them that they can continue to keep the product and everything, including the pricing, remains the same. Sometimes they're concerned, well, what if I change my mind? And, that obviously that can happen. So I want to, again, let them know, well, you're not obligated to keep your product in any way. If you change your mind for some reason, you can cancel at any time. Although I do share with them that as we get older, the fact that they have this coverage does become more and more valuable to them. And then sometimes they ask if they can cover their parents. That is something I don't think we usually have the ability to do. Mario, you probably know the answer to that one better than I do.
Yeah, and it can be specific to each individual case as to what the rules of engagement are for Axia partners. But you made me think of another area that I think is important. A lot of times when we're conducting an enrollment with employees, we're meeting with employees that have already had long-term care coverage in place for many years. Are you able to help employees kind of review existing coverage they have and how that works with the new offering? I'm sure sometimes these folks have had coverage for 10, 20 years. They probably forgot what they had and why they purchased it. What are you seeing in those areas?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Sure, absolutely. We're here to educate the employees. So if they have an existing policy, maybe they purchased one, but the benefit is fixed at a fixed amount, and they're concerned that it's not going to cover as much as as the current cost of care. So, I never encourage someone to get rid of an existing plan because it'll never be cheaper.
Right.
Because it's always based on the age. If they can add some additional coverage through their policy at work, then I think overall their protection will be enhanced and better for them and their family.
Excellent. And to the next question, so we talked about some of the concerns employees have before they move forward. Many different reasons why people purchase long-term care insurance. I'm sure a lot of it is kind of specific to their stage in life. Younger employees might look at it differently than folks that are approaching retirement. What are some of the main reasons people are getting long-term care coverage from you and at the Worksite?
It's very interesting because I have been doing this for a while, and what I am finding is that people that are younger are becoming more interested, and I think what they're seeing is with their own parents or their grandparents. I do share with them really briefly that my own dad was only 42 when he was initially diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. And if he had a plan like this through his employer, especially one that's guaranteed issue, it would have been amazing. So a lot of times if I ask them about their own experience and if let's face it, we all know someone, whether it's family member, whether it's a friend, whether it's friends' parents, and we've all seen the effect and the impact that can have. So those are really the reasons that more and more I'm seeing people are finding value and interest in these plans because it's happening to more and more of us as the population continues to age.
Yeah, and what we find at the Worksite is just a perfect venue for employees to receive that education. The employer has already vetted the Axia Partners process and our team. They vetted the carriers. The employees have a comfort level that it's a good product and they're going to get good education before they decide to participate. Why do you think, we know that the long-term care market on the traditional side has had its challenges over the past couple of decades. Why do you think more employees aren't taking advantage or more Americans aren't purchasing long-term care coverage? What are some of those concerns?
Yeah. One of the things that can really contribute to success is the level of support from the employer. Sometimes employers will make something available, but they don't, they may not promote it, or they may not allow employees time to really review it. And I know Axia has some great tools to help employees communication when there's a new benefit available. So the more that the company supports the offering and allows employees to learn about it, that is definitely going to help. There may be a lack of understanding. Maybe they don't quite know what this product is. And sometimes I'll speak to someone and I'll say, please feel free to share my name with your colleagues at work. And sometimes I'll speak to those colleagues and they'll say, well, I didn't even know that this was going to be available. So definitely company support. And then of course, as we said, the younger they are, it's definitely less expensive. It's to their advantage, although they don't have any experience, and you still feel like, well, yeah, this is something I can think about when I'm older. But then when you get older, unfortunately, the premium rate is higher. I mean, yeah, they're making more in their careers at that point. So it's we're always just trying to find the best fit and to help them to see the value of it. And we do our best. We're not always successful, but I think having more company support and allowing us to speak to people and providing the educational information that Axia can provide is going to grow a great way in terms of successful enrollment.
Yeah, and definitely the employer support is critical. The worst thing we want to hear is that an employee is ready to enroll a week after the enrollment has ended because they didn't know about it, they didn't see the information. So very important for the employer to get behind the benefit, support it, be the cheerleader for it, and make sure employees are aware that it's available. And speaking of the education, it really can't be stated enough how important that education is. Part of the reasons we see is that employees just have different myths and misconceptions around long-term care. They may not even know what it is. It sounds like disability. I already have disability insurance. They think Medicare is going to cover long-term care. They just don't feel they're ever going to need it. Through the education, we try to kind of dispel those myths and misconceptions so that employees aren't using the wrong reasons to not go ahead and apply for coverage going forward. I'm sure you see that in your working with employees as well.
Yeah, there can definitely be some confusion with disability. And I say, well, disability is there if you cannot fulfill the material and substantial duties of your occupation. And even though I know your employer likes you, I'm sure they can't continue to pay you if you can't do your job. So disability is important. But now if you're getting money to help cover your bills, but now your spouse needs to go to work and you need to hire somebody to come in to help, that's where this plan is going to really help you and your family. And then the other thing is disability is not something you're going to be able to keep for the rest of your life. This is something that you can actually keep for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and that's the kind of detail that you get into with the employees to make sure that they understand the differences and don't let those misconceptions kind of get in the way of proper planning. So that's great stuff. Well, Bruce, I think that kind of wraps it up for today. We like to keep these short and sweet. We really appreciate your time today, your expertise in helping us with our worksite enrollments. And anything else before we wrap up, Bruce? We appreciate it.
I think we've covered it, and more and more employers, I believe, are understanding the value that this brings to their company, and I'm glad that we're able to help so many more people through this avenue.
Very well said. We appreciate it. Well, that wraps it up for today, folks. Thanks again for joining today's episode of Where the Rubber Meets the Road. Mario Sestito with Axia Partners signing off, and please enjoy the rest of your day.
Start driving revenue from your book today with worksite enrollments involving long-term care planning with Axia Partners. Contact Mario at Axia Partners. That's Mario at ACSIApartners.com. Until we meet again, drive it like you earned it.